welcome back to the best thing you watched this week. We have Chris from Movies and Munchies, who seems surprised to be there. Myself, Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. And today we have an interesting week, because it's been a really busy week. We have lots. It's so much, right, Chris?
So much. What these theaters, streaming companies, everybody just needs to get together and figure out their schedule so they don't dump everything in 1 week.
So annoying. We go through like a dry spat of just like nothingness. There's this desert. And then the following week, you're just like literally more viewing new content than there is hours in the week. And when it gets like that, for me, I don't know about you, I just get overwhelmed and I don't want to do any of it. I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I'm going home, taking my toys. Yeah. For those on the audio, Ruben decided to just petulantly suck his thumb.
I just remembered, is it Liar? Everybody's been so nice to me. Never mind. Okay. The lady with
that's the big, in the elevator, right?
Yeah. Well, that's because you got big. And then he goes, yeah. Anywho, we got a good lineup of things to talk about this week.
Yeah.
As always, we have lots in our Patreon, over 60 videos there. Got a great bunch of people that have joined us on Patreon that often will give us a topic to talk about or join us on Patreon, and it starts for just £1. So we're having good fun there. Please support us that way if you can. I think £1 equalizes in dollars to about $1.50. So we've made it as small as possible that can help us, but also we can grow a community there. And as such, we're also growing communities here between Chris's channel. If you haven't heard of Chris's channel yet, it's Movies and Munchies, and sometimes you'll do Munchies, which is great. I'm always interested to see what Munchies is gonna eat. And he does different content to me because I focus a lot on anime and animation, and then world cinema, and Chris will do some of that, but he also does a lot of the big titles and movies that are coming out. So that's always fun to see, so check him out. And mine, like I said, anime. We also have a audio.
What's your channel name?
Podcast.
What's your channel name?
Did I not say?
No, you just said mine.
The Ruby Tuesday. Thanks.
There we go.
Thanks. Yeah, the Ruby Tuesday. Our podcast is called The Best Thing We Watched. It's just the same thing. Our Patreon is called The Bearded Ones. Yeah, you see, that's where my brain was going. Yeah, because we have beards.
I got you. Yeah.
But our podcast is on all podcast platforms that you will find them. I think Switcher has died. I don't know if Switcher's there anymore. So if you need to move over from Switcher, there's Apple, Spotify, which is now owning Anchor. So wherever you find your podcast, wherever you listen to, I'm pretty sure we're on that. And again, we've got a great platform there with some people listening to the exclusive content that we do every week. That Chris and I will talk about a movie that we haven't seen for a long time. This week's there's a double helping. What are we talking about?
Well, we we revisited Dude, Where's My Car? So there will be words about this movie.
There will be.
And I watched my first, all the way through, first Studio Ghibli movie.
Very excited to talk about that one.
We watched Kiki's Delivery Service. So I had to, my wife was watching with me, and so we wanted to choose something that is accessible, I guess, to everybody. Our boys had said, this is a good one. This is a good entry point. So we're like, okay, cool. So we'll talk about that.
Nice. Yeah. Also, what's not the best thing that we watched that didn't quite make our list, that's on the audio exclusive content with entertainment news and what we are looking forward to. So I believe that covers everything apart from the movie quiz. Did anybody win last week?
Yes, 3 actually.
Oh wow!
Nostromo, Chris Retzlaff, and Tara Briscoe.
Wow!
All 3 got them and knew the theme as well. The theme was Robin Williams. So number 1, which number 1 was a deep cut. Not a lot of people like this movie, and it has been quite a while since I've seen it, but I enjoyed it when it came out. Toys.
Oh, I love this movie.
Did you ever see Toys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Quirky,
the only one I
weird.
got out of the three.
Oh, nice. Okay. The second one, Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah, I should have got that one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, when we were talking about seeing movies, no, I didn't see it a ton in the theater, but seeing it a ton, I have.
Okay.
Just, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the third one, Insomnia.
Yes. Nice.
So that's,
Dark.
Christopher Nolan, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
it's a
and,
Nolan film. Yeah, one of his first
and
few.
dark. Yeah.
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 But
So
really
there you
good.
go.
Yeah.
But are you ready for this week's?
Yeah, let's do it.
I think you're going to get this one. This is another theme, but I really think that you're going to get this one because I felt the last ones were a little harder.
All right.
This one probably should be anyway. Okay, here we go. Number one. When you cross that finish line tomorrow, you'll know. I deliberately left out part of the quote, the beginning of the quote, because it gives away too much.
Okay.
Okay, number two. The wife was distraught, and we left the little tyke there in the funeral parlor all day. All day. You know, we went back at night, and apparently he had been alone all day with the corpse. He was okay, though. After 2-3 weeks, he came around and started talking again.
Great quote. Okay.
Well, you think you... Okay, wait, sorry. Let me start over. Well, you think what you want about me. I'm not changing. I like me. My wife likes me. My customer likes me. Because I'm the real article. What you see is what you get.
That one rings a bell.
Yeah, you know it. That's an emotional one within a very funny and... Anyway, all three movies are great. But, okay, let us know in the comments, please. Just maybe leave a little space so it gives everybody else the opportunity also to know what it is, or Chris, to not know what it is, and I guess.
Chris Retzlaff, let me know what those are. I feel like he's going to know.
All right. Ruben, though, do you have a question for us today?
Sure. If you could turn into any animal, what would you turn into?
Ooh. Actually, that's kind of tough. Because I really like the kookaburra, that bird, because it has like this laugh, or this, yeah, it's a laugh. And it makes me, like at the zoo or something, when I've heard it, or even online, I mean, it makes me like laugh incessantly almost because it becomes infectious.
All right, let me rephrase the question.
Okay.
And let me change my battery.
Ruben has frozen in a wonderful pose.
Rephrasing the question. You turn into that animal, but you stay that animal.
Okay.
It's not like you have the ability to turn into an animal and you turn back. Yeah. That's the animal.
Okay, so once I'm there, I'm there.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's still a tough question for me because I mean, okay, so the kookaburra I love. I think being an otter, a sea otter, not necessarily a river otter, but a sea otter would be outstanding. I saw a video this week of a fat one who was just laying on his back, scratching his belly. I think at some points my spirit animal is a panda, because if you've ever watched them, I mean, they're so clumsy. They will fall and then just roll someplace. Like that's how they decide, well, okay, I'm already rolling, so I'm just going to continue to do that. They sleep in trees, like they just, like wherever they happen to land. Oh, it's great. I'm going to go panda because they're fat and furry and they just kind of eat all day.
Okay, so
how about you?
You will live for 20 years. Max. That's how long pandas live. I'll go for a bowhead whale because I can live 200 years.
Okay, well, see, that's cheating because you have the scorecard. What the heck? You know, being an orca, though, right now sounds like a lot of fun because they are all getting together and having an orca party, and they're going after the rich and and even the
they're getting feisty. They're like, can you give our seas back, please? Yeah.
Yeah. So when people start talking about how stupid animals are, I
don't buy it. I mean, that or an octopus, because people say like the octopuses are so intelligent, and you see it. You've seen the videos, you've seen the documentaries. Highly intelligent, and they they could be aliens, because literally this week we had on the news confirmed by the Senate person who was like, aliens are real. And I was like, did he just say what I thought he said? Is that taken out of context?
Right. Well, you know, we've been talking about this at home because, like, why don't they just give us the evidence, right? And so we've been talking about, well, maybe it's because they're afraid that people are going to, like, lose their ever-loving minds. And my thing is, like, first off, they're not going to believe it. They're going to... We live in such a time where nothing is believed, you know, regardless of empirical evidence or not. But then most of the people already suspect that anyway, or figure that the government's lying. So they're not going to be shocked. They're going to be more shocked if there actually was never any proof of aliens.
Yeah, it finds weird that we're the only thing. We're the only species. That seems stupid to me, logically.
Dude, I watched a documentary this week, which I didn't end up reviewing, and it was called Cosmic Time Machine. And it bothered me because most of it was about building the James Webb telescope versus what we actually get to see.
Yeah, because
so the last 15 minutes of this is the imagery, and that's what I wanted to see, right? Because that's more interesting, and they're talking about it and everything else. They showed this picture that was like this big. I mean, they then blew it up, but it was one. They compared it to it's 1 grain of sand if you were looking up. Okay, and there were thousands and thousands of galaxies within this. Jeez. It was the craziest looking thing.
So it gives
you
a perspective of how big is. Yeah, like your mind can't comprehend it. So when you give it a size of a grain, and that inside that is just your brain is like, and why?
What?
That's just for us to look at the sky. We only see the tiniest part of it, so it can't just be for us.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah,
it's just so Aziraphale, or Crowley.
yes.
Painting the sky, cranking it.
I love Crowley. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to ask something else, but I've totally forgotten because we went off on a tangent there.
We welcome to the show where we sometimes do go off on big tangents. We hope we don't lose you at that point. We let us know, because Ruben asked the question, let us know what animal you would like, and Ruben will get back to you and let you know how long that means you're going to live. I don't understand what you're looking at and everything else, but whatever. Okay, that's...
I like the idea. I have so much space in the ocean. I'm one of the biggest, so there's barely going to be anybody that's going to eat me. And I live 200 years, so I get to see a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And if I go with the intelligence of the human brain, which is, let's be fair, not that intelligent, but intelligent enough, and may have the skills to either destroy whaling guys or know where to avoid them. Yeah.
Would you be able to understand whale, though, if you had your human
I understand
brain?
Whale now.
I was hoping that.
You speak whale? I didn't know you speak whale. Oh, thank you. Yeah, okay.
Oh, thank you for all those thumbnail options there. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Oh, goodness. Okay, should we dive in?
Yeah, let's. Oh. As we've scared probably everybody off now, and there's like one person.
To our one viewer, thank you for sticking around.
Thanks for sticking around, guys.
Okay. What's number one on your list? I think we're going to have some overlap here, so I think we're going to...
For sure. Yeah. Number one on my list is Deserter Pursuit 2, Season 2. I am just amazed at how little people are talking about the second scene, how little the trailers have been watched. Like, it's 500,000 views compared to millions of views. And just the general audience speak, the zeitgeist of everybody talking about the first one, how it was like culturally impacted. It's nowhere near as big as the other Netflix series.
Squid Game.
Squid Game. But this, lots of people were talking about afterwards. It had a real impact because the story had real impact. It was really real and brutal. And so when I was watching this, I was like, yeah, I've heard nothing about this. Now, for me, some people would equate the second season to be not as good as the first. For me, it felt like a massive just continuation of the first. They've even numbered them. So they've gone 6, and then this is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I was like, yeah, so it just felt like it was two halves of the same story. And the story itself I would say, suggests that it's just a continuation of the repercussions of what happened in those first 6 episodes. Our characters, our DPs are broken. Our one character doesn't even speak anymore. Well, at least at the beginning, he doesn't speak anymore. He's speaking through an iPad with like written text, which is funny.
When he had the not to get into spoilers, there was a scene between Han and Junho that made me laugh because they infused that little bit of humor here and there within it, and it. Sorry, go ahead now.
No, and there was in my review I was talking about the weird tonal shifts that I really appreciated. The one episode, I think it was 8 or 9, was like horror. They go into this bunker and the whole tone shifts and it's just creepy. I was like, this is production value. Like I know nasty stuff happened here because the whole atmosphere changed. There is stuff that I think a lot of Americans would understand more emotionally because one of the stories is about somebody shooting a lot of people, and that carries on for a number of episodes. The thing that stuck with me again is, as much as I love our protagonists, I hate what they're doing. So our two main protagonists, Han, and their job is to go get these deserters. But the reason why these deserters has left is because their life was a living hell. And one of the main things that keeps coming out in these South Korean series is, why is there so much brutality? And it's not just abuse. It's not just bullying. It's abuse and torture. And that is a theme that is in so much South Korean stuff that it has to be true at some level. I remember when we did, what was that series we did recently where the girl got burnt?
The Glory?
Yeah, Glory, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the comments were like, yeah, this is just accurate. This happens. And we're like, yeah, that I believe it, because a lot of what entertainment is a reflection of what's happening in society. It's often what goes on. It's how we almost cope with it. It's our way of measuring life is sucky sometimes, but sitting back from the screen gives us a almost therapeutic measure of, okay, we need to do something about it. Maybe this will bring some sort of change if there's more people speaking about it, that kind of thing. But man, sucked in, amazing acting, amazing filming, brutal, somewhat good conclusion, somewhat satisfied. Somewhat. Yeah. I mean, I'm conflicted with their job because the people escaping are escaping something because it's not just. I mean, you have some of those who just didn't want to be there, but then there's also those legitimate reasons of being bullied, harassed, and everything. It's not like I'm just leaving because these guys have left because they've been beaten, broken, people abused every day, and their talk is, I either leave or kill myself, and that's the extreme. Yeah.
Well, I like because it comes out at one point in this one where they're in the rain and there's the large standoff where it's reiterated again that the DP's job is to bring them back unharmed.
Yeah.
To in one piece
that's
to not.
Because the boss even goes, "What are you going to do?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going to go get him unharmed."
Right, and that's important there because it's not like your regular. They're not heaping more abuse on these people.
Yeah, exactly. They always start with, "I'm here to help you." That's nice, but at that point, most of them are so broken and scared and fearful. They're like, "I don't believe you."
Yeah. This season for me, this season was even better than the first season. And that's not to say that the first season is like less than good by any means.
No, I mean, it's awesome. Yeah.
and really the more that I had thought about over the last 2 years or something, the first season, like I have appreciated it way more than I first did.
Yeah.
And so the friendship, the camaraderie, the partnership between Han and Junho it makes the show, because you have goofy and very serious.
The goofiness with the soundtrack is hilarious sometimes when they're doing chases, and it's like a jazz comedy. And I'm just like, this is so weird.
There was, well, and like there in this one, Junho is chasing this person, and it is a long chase, and it becomes comical in certain ways, which I kind of liked, because
it was a hell of a chase.
It was, yeah. But then like Junho is like just doubled over. I mean, he's like,
can't do it anymore.
And then there's a clip to it, it changes the scene. And
this is a weird electronic bike which only goes straight. Can you turn?
Only goes straight.
Where can I go?
Just it's like the right amount of infusion of just that humor. Sometimes it's subtle, and really most of the time it is. But I like too that we see that Han, who is typically more of the funnier of the two, he gets some very serious moments.
Yes,
and he
does.
gets,
yeah.
So it doesn't make him just as the butt of the joke or as the goof off and the throwaway character. I mean, he's huge purpose within the story. I thought the court scene that led up to that was also very powerful, intense. I mean, just like I was like, because you have all of these other situations,
the other movements and you're waiting, and it's building up. Very clever to make a court scene, because a court scene can easily, all those drama court scenes that TV shows are sometimes just boring. You're just like, oh.
But, because they're standard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're.
But the way they made this so full of tension, and there's a couple of action scenes that leading up to that were incredible. There's one on the train that I just thought, holy crap, man, it's brutal.
Well, and it gives you like the dude. I don't really even know what he is. I mean, he's
the ninja.
Like this,
I called him a ninja. The old dude.
The old dude.
The
yeah.
old dude.
Oh my gosh.
He's kicking skills. What is he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Well, but he. How was I going to go with that? I mean, he sends like everybody after him. You know what I mean?
I mean, tactically smart, bastard.
Oh
but
yeah,
smart.
Absolutely. I hated the guy though.
Yeah.
I just like, oh my gosh. But there's, I mean, the whole train scene is insane. But he gives. That's what I was going. Sorry, my brain finally caught up. He is telling all of his people. Like some of it, I think, is voiceover, as it's a montage of people getting ready and everything else. But he talks about Junho's skills, and like we've seen some of it before, but not to this level.
And we've been waiting for it. Kind of, it's been building, because we've seen him chuck guys around, one or two, but he's never really got into it. But this, yeah, you're right. We see, and I love the way they show it. It doesn't feel like choreographed fighting. It just feels like I'm fighting to end this conflict as quick as possible. And so it's like a weird mixture of Krav Maga and their special forces training, which is obviously the DPs are very well trained. The thing I hated about it is everybody's well trained. it's like, there's no one that's easy to beat.
No, well, and he comes up against one person towards the end.
Oh my Lord,
which was even funnier. And there's an action that he does, and I appreciated it because we always see this in the movies where somebody does an action, and while it's supposed to hurt the other person, there is no way in the world that it also doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I'm surprised, though. I wish this was getting more prominence, more marketing, more publicity. And I don't know if it's going to continue. I got the sense that it could just be done. That
could be done, but like in my review I said, there's definitely possibility, because the whole thing is about changing the military from the top up. And in order to do that, they're going to have to continue making changes. And that's what they said in it initially. Essentially. So they could do more stories that way. And I imagine there's lots of other, like, theoretically, you could keep going because there's lots of deserters, and how that affects everybody else, and bringing to light the darkness, just continuing to pushing those stories out. And you realize how hard it is to do, because when it's so powerful and ingrained in the mechanics of the whole of the society, and nobody wants that to be shown, because once you start doing, there's a trickle down, isn't there? And then everybody gets affected, and then you're talking money, and when money's involved.
Yep. Well, and Junho has 364 days left.
I was just sad for him. It's like, really? That was such a short amount of time we went through then for those 12 episodes. That means he's got to go through so much more.
Yeah, we've watched him go through 1 year, and so now he's got one more year.
And as we found out, there's darker places. That DMZ place, man.
Dude, you're right. The horror aspect of that, because when they're driving in and the truck passes them, and all of the guys are just like painted.
War paint on their face.
Yeah, I mean, it had a little bit of the Apocalypse Now feel to some of those, because they're deep in the jungle.
Yeah,
they're right up against the
literally
enemy.
The fence border between north and south, right? Yeah. But also that storyline, but that was really emotional, and I didn't see it coming. It was nice. It was something different. And I thought, yeah, that's real, because it wouldn't just always just be that person, and you think that person is that person, but actually perhaps they're different. And I just thought, yeah, very, very well done. Amazing way to keep us in the main arc, but still have little stories that they've got to complete along the way, which I think makes it that much more interesting to watch.
Yeah, agreed. So put this one on your list. It's definitely
put this one on yours. Okay, so was that on your list?
That was on my list. Yes. The next one I want to talk about, which I'm pretty sure is on your list too, is this was a massive surprise. I mean, total surprise. I thought this was going to be poo.
Yeah. It should be, because
it should be
the idea of it.
On Peacock, Twisted Metal,
and
a series.
Thank you for giving me the context, because we don't have that yet. So.
Just you have Anthony Mackie, Stephanie Beatrice, Thomas Hayden Church, even Nev Campbell, based on a video game.
And the wrestler.
And Joe
Ramos?
Samoa Joe, I think, but voiced by Will Arnett.
Yeah.
And just that is so irreverent and hilarious there too. Based on a video game, post-apocalyptic, people live in walled-off cities. I mean, it's kind of like it's rote, what we expect from any post-apocalyptic city. And to get supplies back and forth, there are delivery men, milkmen. And they just drive. That's what they do. And it's dangerous. And Anthony Mackie is one of those. And he's promised something if he can get a package back. And the crap that he goes through is insane. It's way more funny than I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. It has silliness to it, and then it is very, very violent.
Wonderfully violent.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. I saw some comments, and people were worried. They're like, it's not sticking to the game, because I guess the game is mostly about a race, and then like some like Colosseum type things or whatever, and like certain characters have way more prominence. This season though is really establishing the world.
Yeah, and it's kind of a setup to where the game starts, I think. Yeah.
Which, as somebody who hasn't played the game, I mean, I was familiar with the game, but I never played it. This was wonderful because it got me invested not only in just the circumstances of the world, But now the characters within there, and I love Anthony Mackie's character. I love Stephanie.
I was amazed at how great Anthony Mackie played his character. Like, just, this is what I've been wanting to see from Mackie for a while. I've seen him some stuff where I've gone, he's fine. I don't mind him in the MCU, but you don't get a lot of moments to shine in the MCU. It's just superhero stuff with superhero dialogue, right? This was his, like, he owned this character.
Well, and because of his background too, of there's mystery for him of his own background.
Yeah.
That we learn things along with him, which I thought was wonderful, because it's, I mean, he's gruff, he's snarky, he's ingenious, and then also becomes very, oh gosh, what's the right word? I mean, he's very sympathetic, because as we learn more and more about him, you're like, oh my gosh, you have a tragic story. And and he's not the only one with a tragic story. So
well, he's the person that travels with him for some of it. I kept calling Rosa Salazar.
No.
And 99.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she was great in it. And I think that when they have that sort of partnership in there, this is a big part of them building up. I think that, there's partners throughout this series that makes it work. So we have Will Arnett and the wrestler, who also gets him a couple of companions. And there's a moving city with trucks. There's a couple of companions there, and I really like those establishing characters that feel like, I imagine some of them will be carried on into season 2. But I think that's what it works when you humanize it. Even though it's silly and stupid and people should be dead all the time, you have a sort of cannibal story, a Mad Max-esque story, but then you make it so it's not taking itself too seriously that's through the dialogue and the explosions and the action, but then you humanize it through those characters, and I think that's what works. That I was so surprised. Oh, and the length, I think that really helped it. The half an hour short episodes, there's no padding, you just bang bang bang, watching the next, and it's gone.
It was hard not to binge this thing. Yeah. I mean, you would have to actively, for me, it was like I'd have to actively I've got to turn this off. No, I'm not going to, because
I watched
having
it
so
in
much
2
fun
days.
with it.
Yeah, I watched 5 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did, because I think I finally had to go to a movie screening or something, and so then I watched the rest of it afterwards. But I like that we've established the world, and now we've also set up a proper villain. You don't like this person. They're created to just be, you suck, because at first you're like, oh, okay. And then you're like, I don't really like you too much. And then later you're, oh, no, you are the devil. You're a horrible, horrible person. But
a lot of people commented that they wanted to know how much Neve Campbell was in it, was a character like. And I just had to say that she isn't in it much, but it felt like they were setting her character up for much more in the second season.
Agreed.
So, don't be upset. It was like, well, because a lot of people love Neve Campbell, know her a lot from other films, The Craft, Scream. But yeah, I think they're going to set her up for much more.
Yeah, I do think that she is going to have a much more prominent role moving forward. And you're right. There's a few of them where you're like, I wonder where you're going to come in at, and how, what story impact you're going to have. So, it was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
It's a very huge surprise.
I needed this. This is I needed fun. I needed to be different and just know what it is. And I was just like, I think 3rd episode in, I was just like, yeah, all right. I am in.
Well, it just, right from the very get-go, as the scene opens up in the mall with Anthony Mackie being chased, and he's like, "Ooh, they have a Foot Locker," and it just, you kind of know, okay, that's what this kind of is going to be.
It's sort of tongue in cheek Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I loved the clown, and I normally hate clowns, but I loved the clown. I thought his character was brilliant.
There was always so much tension surrounding his interactions.
Yes.
Because he's nuts.
I mean, he's
don't
actually nuts.
yeah. It's not like, oh, you're
no,
just
like,
crazy.
Is he? Like,
No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, beyond sketchy dude. And so I loved, though, that when he's talking to you, is he going to chop your head off, or is he going to high five you?
Yeah, or is he going to give me a hug, or do a play for me?
There's so many moments with him. I mean, he stole the show, you know, because it was just like, okay. And there's a scene towards the end of the season where he asks Stu, one of his people next to him, to do something to him. And the horror that Stu has on his face is priceless, because we're all like, are you okay? You are. I mean, you're beyond nuts. We knew you were nuts.
There's a moment that you needed to have for the fans. That's the moment. Yeah,
that's the moment, right? Yeah. I thought the imagery looked familiar from what I remember seeing of the game.
Are they actually gonna do? No, they are.
So good. Yeah.
It was weird to be rooting for him, though, because I know it is wrong, but like I wanted him. There's a lot of badness out there, and this contained badness is taking on the badness of the world. Like, yeah, it was weird. It's like, I don't know how I feel about this, and especially at one point you see him hurt an animal, and I was just like, no. And I think that at that point there was a nice separation of, I'm rooting for him, but he is totally nuts, like from the get-go.
Yes. Yeah, I did not like that scene. I was thankful that they didn't show really anything, but it was still
sound effects, and it was
yeah, you know what's going on, so it was like, but all right.
Yeah, nice.
So what's next on your list?
Yeah, this one is a surprise. I've only seen 2 episodes of it, but I was really emotionally engaged with it. Like, it really gripped me. Tyler Sheridan's Spec Ops Lioness. Joe attempts to balance her personal and professional life as the tip of the spear in the CIA's war on terror. I mean, that's a very general list. Just like, what is that, IMDb? Thank you. However, the cast is something that you should be aware of. Zoe Saldana, and she plays the leader of her special ops CIA. She's CIA, but she's like off the books almost. She's got to do stuff that nobody's gonna know about. Her team are one of the teams that saves the world, and you never know about it. It's that, and she's got to be hard because of that. But what the series does is it goes into the effects of the life of the personal family life as well. And so we see when she comes off a stint of like however long she's been away, how that's affected her husband, her kids. You know, it takes a real toll on her mental. Like, it starts off with just losing a team member, and the effect that has, and it's brutal. So what the story is then that she needs to fill a space in that team. And so we get Lisla de Oliveira. Yeah, who plays Cruz. And I love her story. I immediately am rooting for Cruz. I was thinking, like, if I was that person, at what point do you give up? And there's a different mentality, right? She's just got fight in her DNA. And so obviously that's the type of person, and she ends up in the military. There's a quick sort of montage, but the way there's a moment where Cruz needs help, and she falls into this Marine's office, and this Marine dude is literally, this is my land now, and the person that was going to hurt her just immediately realizes, like, oh, I should not mess with this dude. And there was this connection between her going, I need protection, but I also want to protect people. And that's where her career takes off. And I was just like, dude, I am in. And then it gets interesting. The cast continues to be great with Dave Annabelle, who plays Neil, Nicole Kidman, who's like senior over Overwatch, and Morgan Freeman's in there somewhere. But he's listed in the credits. He's on the poster, but we haven't seen him yet in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in this, and I'm kind of gutted I didn't get screeners or able to. I really want to watch like the whole lot. I just was like absorbed.
When I watched it, I got only the first episode as a screener, even though they were dropping 2 at once. And so I reached out because it's Paramount Plus. I was like, hey, do you have the second one so I can kind of get a better idea? And they're like, nope, this is all we have available. Okay, so I need to go back in and watch this episode 2. But I liked episode 1. I thought it was a really good start to it. We're setting up a gritty world, and it's based on a true operation or unit where they have female operatives infiltrate and get close to high target values, like their girlfriend or their wife or their, something like that, somebody in their sphere of influence. So it's not directly next to the target, but it's somebody very, very close to them. Yeah. And that stress, I mean, just even in the first episode,
dude, the second one, there's a 10-minute scene. So brutal. It's like, it's part of her training. But it's so brutal. Yeah. And I was just like, dude, how far is too far? Sort of question. Yeah.
Well, you get a lot of that because, I mean, you watch Zoe Saldana at the very beginning have to make some choices.
Yeah.
Which just tear her up. But then it sets up how she then has to switch some of her tactics.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't want to make the same mistakes.
Yeah, which is, I mean, you look at it and it's like, oh gosh, that's brutal in and of itself for the things that you're asking, and you're nice.
It's very good though. So normally you can tell Tyler Sheridan, if he's creating something, he's doing a good job. Hell or High Water, writer, Wind River,
oh my
Yellowstone,
gosh.
Sicario. I mean, flip.
Yep. Yeah, he writes some good stuff.
Yay! So, all right, so what's next on your list?
I went to the theater this week. This came out at Sundance, and I missed it. Yeah. And it has opened up in cities like sporadically, and I think it's just now opening wide, which is still kind of a bummer because Barbenheimer is still just dominating
everything.
Yeah. So this movie's going to be completely overshadowed. I really wouldn't be surprised if it was out of the theater within a week or 2.
Right.
But it's called Theater Camp.
Yeah, it's not even here. So
okay, it is. It's very much an indie film. Okay, it's it's Searchlight Pictures, no longer Fox Searchlight. It's Searchlight Pictures. Ben Platt, Molly Gordon, Jimmy Tatro, RuPaul, just some phenomenal characters within this. What it is a theater camp in the Adirondacks in New York, in the mountains there. And it's like a summer camp. And the founder of it, she has a difficulty so that she's no longer able to participate, and her son takes over the operations while she's recovering, and come to find out that the camp is not doing as well as it could. And then that's an underlying storyline, but then you have all of these kids who are theater kids.
Is it a musical?
There are musical numbers within it, but it's not a musical.
Okay.
No, it's a comedy drama. It's weird, and in a really wonderful way.
Okay.
It looks like it's shot on film. It may have been shot on film. It is so grainy. The camera work is not going to be for everybody. It's not shaky cam, but it is definite handheld and then guerrilla style. So you have, I mean, the camera will, you could see the steps and everything else, and they'll like move into somebody or then pan over to somebody else really quickly. Some zooms, just things that you normally wouldn't see in a big budget studio film. You know what I mean?
Well, according to the trivia, it's shot in 19 days.
Wow. Well, I began to appreciate all of the camera style, the filming.
Okay.
You get used to it. It was jarring at first. And it's definitely weird, but it is a stylistic choice, and they stick with it the entire time. So the consistency is much appreciated there. The stories, I think, are really nice because you have some growth arcs that are happening. Some of it's predictable. It's a short movie, and there is a scene that's extended that makes it feel even longer. They didn't need to have that part in there.
Do you think this needs to be seen at the theater, or is this a good home movie?
Oh, you could totally see this at home. The thing, I think, if you were to see it in the theater, though, when we saw at our screening, there was a large contingent of theater people. They were either performers, they worked at a theater, they were in the stage or the lighting department, any of these things. Now, I laughed out loud a bunch through this. They laughed even harder because there were jokes.
I'd love to
that
watch
I
something
just
like that with my sister. Yeah, okay.
When it's geared toward an audience that like it has general humor that everybody can get, but then it's also a little bit niche where it adds more for the super fans.
Yeah.
The music, oh my gosh, so you have all these kids who sing in good gravy. Now, I love a musical, right? I love musicals.
I know you do, yeah.
Yeah. And unashamedly, I do. But there are some kids in here where we watch like this little montage, kind of like Pitch Perfect, where they're auditioning, because the kids here are auditioning for parts in the play. And so they're all singing different songs. So you don't have like this compilation of one song, with all these different voices and styles and everything. They like shock you. I mean, blow you out of the water with their voices. Like, I'm like, holy crap. And then some of them can also dance as well. There's just, it's a great mixture of personalities and feel-good moments, and really so much about belief in yourself, belief in what you can do, and the acceptance, inclusion, all of this. There's a lot of the kids are gay or non-binary, at least. There's one scene towards the end, though, that flips it on its head, which is hilarious because it's not necessarily what you expect. But I thought it was done really well. We love the movie. There's so many character moments that show the heart of the person, and some of them you have liked all the way through, and it's just reinforced now of how much more you like them. Other ones, you're like, dude, I'm rooting for you, but you kind of suck at the moment, and you get to see heart changes and growth through this too. And so it's a lot of fun. It's less than an hour and a half, I think, or maybe it's like 92 minutes, something. It's really short. My guess is that it's probably going to come to digital very quickly, because it's just going to be obliterated, and it's going to be on like one tiny screen, in each theater. So if you do have the opportunity to see it, and you like stories that are fun, you like stories that are about, just uplifting and inspiring and positive, but still can infuse drama and some, life moments within there.
I like these little films that come out of nowhere and they're like gems.
Yeah.
I just checked. This comes out in the UK at the end of August at cinemas, so it will be here for like a week or so. By then, it might be on digital. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, because I think what a lot of people do now when it comes to digital around the world, they just use VPNs to, either buy digitally on that platform, and then you can still just hit your VPN and you're fine. I don't know. I think it's that grey area, that one. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Any more?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have more before you get to your anime special? No. Okay. I'll hit on this one quickly then. It's a Spanish romance story. It's a limited series on Netflix. It's called A Perfect Story. And it was really funny for me because like I was totally into it. I was looking forward to it. I didn't know anything about it, but again, like musicals, I also like rom-coms and just romances if they end how I want them to end. I don't like the realistic endings for these. I watch these for fairy tale. But my wife is typically in the evenings when we'll watch or something, she's also working. And so she's not very invested a lot of the time, especially if it's a non-English
subtitled
show. Yeah, because she's she's focused on what she's doing.
She'll be on the laptop. She can't read at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. About halfway through the first episode, she closed her laptop, and just you have these two characters who are with people that one is with a person that they just shouldn't be with. It's a terrible relationship dynamic. The other one, they're not sure, and there's nothing wrong with the relationship. It's just the feeling's not really there or what it should be. So these two people come together happenstance, and they begin through a couple of awkward scenes, they become kind of friends, and they decide to help each other because they're kind of strangers still. They decide to help each other become better so that they can each get back, either win over or change their outlook on their significant other. Yeah. And the trajectory we want them to get together. They have great chemistry. They are fun together. And that's what we watch. I love, though, that this show makes us wait. I mean, it is patient and teasing.
Is it a series?
It's a limited series, yeah.
Okay.
It's what, 6, 8 episodes, maybe 5 episodes, maybe. It's not long. The episodes themselves are also shorter. I mean, they're like 30, 35-ish minutes. But within there, it packs so much. You have quiet moments. You have these times where the camera will focus on like a piece of the body, and because it's giving you so many clues, it has a meaning to it. And I'm not talking about like, oh, there's a naked breast and so they just focus in on that. That's not what it is. It's it's a body movement or something, and huge meaning and context built in within there. They also do this thing where it becomes kind of like an unreliable narrator for us, even though it's not an unreliable narrator. We get to see sometimes their thoughts on how they are playing this situation out, and then the camera will go, and then you get to see what they actually answer, or how they actually, which is nice, because when we do see interactions going forward, you're like, is this happening? Is this not happening? You know what I mean? And so there's that unpredictability on, oh gosh, you really did say that out loud, or something like that. So it's it was just captivating. I mean, the love story, because they make us wait, that anticipation just builds and builds and builds. And because they're also conflicted, these two people, I mean, they have significant others, right? They're supposedly in part of their mind, they're trying to become better, even though there's also that message within there of, you don't have to become better for them. you're fine how you are. It's not, you know what I mean? This is a superficial type of, you need to become better or whatever. Yeah. So a perfect story. I loved it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, this wasn't on my radar. I saw it, but this wasn't something like, yeah, I want to watch that. But sounds like it could be fun when you're in the mood for a romantic series.
Just make sure you've carved out enough time to binge the entire thing, because it's once you start, I think it's hard to stop.
Oh, like Pringles?
Yes, exactly. And Ruffles, you can't eat just one. Yeah.
Ruffles? Is that
Ruffles
what Pringles are
Ridges?
in the US?
Oh, is that what? No. Pringles are different.
Oh, I've never heard of Ruffles.
Yeah. What?
We don't get Ruffles.
My wife and I were talking. We had Chipotle last night for dinner, and my wife and I were talking about it. It made me laugh how the first meal I get you after we come off the airport is Chipotle, and I ask you, "Hey, you want chips?" And you say yes, and then are very disappointed when you have
very disappointed.
Not French fries.
Yeah.
For those of us in the U.S., it was just the
America sucks. Take me back.
That's so weird. Okay. Anyway, love it.
All I remember from that is really needing to go to the bathroom and the code not working for the door and going, why is there a code to the bathroom with the door?
Yes, and why doesn't it work?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, man. All right. So is it time for your over 9,000?
Yeah. Over 9,000!
It's over 9,000!
Okay, so I'll start with a negative. That Netflix had their new anime second season of Baki Hanma, 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 season 2 come out. It's a fighting anime, similar to that of Record of Ragnarok that they've just put out. It's basically about one son, Baki, who wants to beat his dad, who is the strongest fighter ever. And they're always teasing us, saying that one day we'll see that fight, but we never do. This time round, in season 2, we have a Stone Age warrior from like the Stone Age. He's been in ice, and he's mid fighting a T-Rex, and they thaw him, and he is the ultimate evolution of warrior. He's so strong, and he's so strong that every single top fighter around the world is, as soon as they see his image, they're drawn to him. So although it's not a tournament arc, it is sort of, because everybody wants to fight him. And so what we get is interactions of these characters fighting him and just like mostly being decimated. And you know, at this point, these fighters are superheroes. It's evolution meeting various martial arts in different styles. Which is it's a cool premise. And then Baki is going to be like the fight that he fights him eventually. And we still don't get the dad fight. The issue with this season is that the animation is basic as heck. It's a lot of moving stills. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen this anime. They have a still of a picture and then they'll pan it left or right.
Yeah.
And then the pictures of the actual people talking will be like, no one's moving in the background. Sometimes they even have blank faces, and there'd just be like slight mouth movement. That's what it is. And then when you get to the actual fighting, there's a lot of streaks, like leg movement. And you hear the sound effect and you see the streak color, but you don't really get to see the fight. You see the aftermath, like a guy's jaw. You'll see the guy's jaw like broken or like blood and gore, but you don't see the movement that led up to that. You just might hear it in audio. So you think maybe, but as you start to become aware and you watch more, it's like, this is not great. Like, I like the story, I like the idea, I like the characters, but why can't I see it? So I can't in good conscience continue to go, yeah, this is great. I prefer Kengan Ashura, like, as we reach better quality, Kengan Ashura, Record of Ragnarok, and then the quality goes up from there. Those are three that aren't great, but certainly I think this is near the bottom of the bunch of fighting anime. It's unfortunate because the story is really fun. But we have had Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. That's been running now, and it's one of the most popular anime series that's been out for a while. everybody was thinking when season 2, they're just going to pick up where they left off, which was like a big sort of cliffhanger. It was really intense. No, it's sort of a prequel, and I say sort of because we're following. Let me get his name right. We're following Gojo's past. Gojo and Geto escorting a star plasma vessel to Tengen. So this girl, basically, it's her job to go to be the vessel to stop spirits from coming out and destroying the world. And she knows this is her job, so they give her some time on Earth. They give her some time to just enjoy a couple of days, but they also have to protect her because somebody is trying to stop that. So it's a sort of prequel, and then after these first few episodes, it's jumped back into the present. We haven't quite gotten there yet. I think the next episode probably is going to be the present. So it's like 2 time spans. The thing that people love about this series, apart from the really dark storyline, where I was talking about the actual seeing the fights, this is one that you get to see the movement. It's beautifully animated. The characters look stunning, and you get to see them fight. Like the quick movements that you wouldn't be able to see, they show it in a way. If the character's dashing left, right, or forward, and they're doing like a flash step, which is like, super fast. You get to see the movement of that character moving that way, or if they're using some sort of special ability, you see it all. It's all in screen rather than like not animating it. Now, they obviously use their budget in the action, and so some of the other characters won't always be as animated, or will have blank faces, but they use it in a way that makes you feel like this is really high tier quality. I don't think it packs. My son was saying to me as well that he just doesn't feel like it packs the same emotional punch as season 1 did. There was also Jujutsu Kaisen 0, the movie, which was excellent. I think the emotional punch is still coming because they're building to that in the second season. So I highly recommend watching that if you've been a fan of that. If you've been a fan of it, you're probably on top of it, or perhaps you're waiting for it to be all out, which I don't blame you. On Disney or Hulu, you can continue watching Bleach, the 1,000-Year War. Remember, I said to you a few months ago that Bleach came back after a massive hiatus, and their animation style is probably the best out at the moment. No joke. The fighting sequences in this are brilliant. I am very happy to say that it's a proper arc story where it's over 9,000. It's classic. These guys are your good guys basically in the first season that you always thought was so powerful just get wiped out. Like they're just done. And then they come back with, we've learned a new move. That wasn't even my ultimate move. Wait a minute, that guy is over 9,000. That is, it's literally, this series is made for why this is called over 9,000. And so you think that they're going to be all right now because they've learned a new move. They've gotten their powers back. Nope, the other guys are so much more powerful still. So they're always the underdog, which is a weird place to be for Bleach because normally the guys that you are rooting for in this, the captains of this spiritual side, they're normally the guys that you worry that our main character is going to be fighting, except he's so powerful now, and he's also been just, how do I say, he's I was going to say he's been wiped on the floor. What's the saying? Ichigo, they're wiping the floor with him, so you think he's good, and every now and again he does something like, wow, that was incredible. It looks so beautiful and pretty, but at the same time, while you're watching all the prettiness, your friends are dying because you've watched 16 seasons of them, and you're like, no, not that person. And talking about over 9,000, for those that you didn't know, the Dragon Ball superhero movie is now on Crunchyroll. So if you didn't get a chance to watch it at the cinema, and you were sad because it probably was only there for a couple of weeks, then, well, go to Crunchyroll and watch it. It's there. It's an hour and a half. It's a lot of nostalgia to previous storylines that they've put in the mixture, but they've also continued to where our characters are in their current power levels. So Dragon Ball Superhero is on Crunchyroll.
Nice.
And that kind of finishes up the anime section. I'm going to start a new section, and then by the end, in a few years' time, we're going to have so many sections. This will be a 10-hour podcast. But this won't be a section for every week. It'll be when I have them. So I think I mentioned to you last week that Frank Miller had started a new comic series. So we can call this Comic Corner. So there is... The sequel to Wanted is finally here after 20 years of waiting. Kick-Ass, Kingsman, The Magic Order, Huck, Nightclub, The Ambassadors, and all of your favorite characters are together for the first time in the crossover event of the summer. Written by Mark Millar and Pepe Larraz. Here is the cover. As you can see.
Big Game.
Yes.
All right. Looking that up.
The art style is as you imagine. It's flipping awesome.
Ooh, nice.
Very, very well done. But it's the story that we're all here for. I mean, with the art style, obviously, and the dialogue. I didn't know how this was going to work. Because big crossovers, there's so many characters for you to... if you love all those characters, how do you take their stories and put them into one story that kind of works? And the premise is kind of ingenious. It's a world where, let's say, where we are now, Earth, everybody's infatuated with superhero movies. But the reason for that is because at one stage on Earth, all those superheroes were real. But a group of supervillains came and destroyed them all and rewired our brain with whatever powers they have, so that everybody now thinks that superheroes were just in the movies. So the way we express that, because in the deep recesses of our mind, we still know that superheroes were once real. We see that in our entertainment. So we have the MCU, we have the X-Men, we have DC. So all those movies and TV series are now going to cross over, but in like a real life. So now these new superheroes and teams are starting to once again come up into the culture and start to be real again. So the villains need to once again come up with a plan to destroy everything and control us. So basically, we don't know that we're being controlled, and that's a massive cover up. And so that's how they're going to, I guess, put everybody together in one big crossover.
So before Big Game, you also mentioned Wanted?
Yes.
Was that a separate one?
No, it's the sequel to Wanted. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got you. All right. Wow. Dude, that's fun. Which, like I was looking that up, and it was showing, they apparently have 5 different variants on the
covers.
cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one did you have? I didn't use that one. Okay. You had number 1.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Issue 1 of 5. So it's a 5-story arc, which is nice. It'll be completed. I am a big fan of Mark Millar. Mark is a genius when it comes to these sort of stories. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is Comic Corner for this week.
Okay.
All right.
Fun.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, hey, we thank you for joining us. Like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. Me, Chris, Movies and Munchies. Don't forget about our Patreon opportunity. Patreon.com/thebeardedones. I don't know what Ruben's doing. For those on the audio, he's playing with his chair. But he just disappeared there for a second on video. Oh. Anyway, yes, our Patreon, £1, so like $1.50, maybe even a little less than that, is the entry point there. We have some that are outside of the paywall, in case you want to just get a taste of what some of them could be. Over 60 videos in there right now, from specialized reviews, life stories, contests that we've done, watch-alongs. There's a lot to be had. A drunk review, which I don't know if it's entertaining. It was when we did it, but so you can head over to patreon.com/thebeardedones for that. Also, wherever you happen to be listening to the podcast, we are on so many different platforms, so you can just search the best thing we watched this week. But also, if you head over there, please rate and review us. That helps out the channel just a bunch, or just our show, the podcast itself a bunch. Coming up in our exclusive audio part that you can hear on those podcast platforms, like Ruben had mentioned at the very beginning, we are going to be hitting on the worst or the thing that didn't make our list. We are going to be talking a special helping 2 movies this week. One was Kiki's Delivery Service, my first time watching any Studio Ghibli movie. And then we also revisited Dude, Where's My Car? So we're going to talk about both of those. And then we'll also hit on some entertainment news, and as well as the things that are coming up within this week. Outside of that, though, hey, we thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. And with that, we'll see you next week. All right? Take care.
Oh, I forgot to say, Chris, did you hear about the guy that had his left side cut up?
No.
He's all right now.
Dang it. Wait. Set that up. There we go. Could you hear that?
Yes.
Dang it. Yeah. Here we go. Let's do it again. There we go. That's what I was like.
Oh, you were waiting. All right. Do you want to hear another one just so you can do it? Okay.
Yes.
What's E.T. short for?
Extraterrestrial?
No, because he's got little legs. Yeah! Thank you, everybody. I'll be here all week.
Oh, goodness. Okay, fun with sound effects there. He's got little legs. Oh, that's awesome. All right, let's go.